Hi everyone. This is the Triangle of Research Part 2. As you can see, here we are in the coronavirus era. I want to talk about how to do periodicals today. Now, previously, we began our discussion of the Triangle of Research, as you recall, with general reference books like encyclopedias. Then we went to books. So now, as you can see, I'm on the Mesa College front page, the home page. I'm going to click on databases here, right? Here's our library research. We already clicked on library before. We've clicked on catalog before. I want to click on databases this time. Now, this immediately takes us to the A through Z list of databases, which, quite honestly, is a little bit too much. Look at them all go by. Oh my God, right? How would you ever know what to do, right? Now, there's good reasons for all these databases to exist, but when we're first starting our research, this is pretty overwhelming. So I'm going to go over here where it says article databases, multi-subject. You may recall we went to reference databases already. Article databases. Now it's limited. We have Super Search, which, by the way, was invented by Satan. Super Search, the reason I have a problem with Super Search is it doesn't make a lot of distinctions. It gives you literally everything we have, which goes totally against the principles of the Triangle of Research. We have some other databases. EBSCOhost, this is probably our most popular database. JSTOR, another very popular database. And we have Access World News. Ethnic News Watch, that's an important database to use sometimes. Newspaper Source Plus is also important. UT and US Newsstream, which are the major newspapers. So we're here today to talk about how to search for periodicals. There are three major types of periodicals: magazines, newspapers, and journals. What's a journal? That's the one that probably stands out as a little bit different. A journal is peer-reviewed material. Journals are where academics, scientists, professors publish their original research. And unlike in a magazine or a newspaper, where articles are published by editors because they like what they read, in a peer-reviewed journal, articles are only published after they have been reviewed by a panel of peers, that is, other experts in that same field. And if they judge it to be sufficiently good, according to the standards of the periodical, it will get published. Most submissions do not get accepted for publication. It's very difficult to get published in a peer-reviewed journal. So when you see this asterisk after the title of a database, like here after EBSCOhost, after JSTOR, after Ethnic News Watch, this asterisk indicates that these databases have peer-reviewed journals. For many of the assignments that I give in my classes, there are requirements that we have peer-reviewed journals. Let's continue. Rather than go to Super Search, I'm going to begin at EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost has major magazines and peer-reviewed journals. Now, as you may recall, we were using the death penalty as our subject area because nobody ever gets to write about the death penalty in one of my classes. We also discovered that rather than call it the death penalty, the Library of Congress actually refers to it as capital punishment. So I'm going to use the term capital punishment this time. But before I click on this search box, I'm going to scroll down a little bit on the screen. See where it says limit your results? I always click on full text. If I do not, I may get some entries that have only bibliographic information for an article, but I don't get the article itself. If I do click on full text, I will get the article always. Over to the right is an option for scholarly peer-reviewed journals. What I encourage students to do often is do two searches. One, clicking this, find peer-reviewed journals, and the second time, I'm clicking this so that you get everything that the database has. Because you do have a requirement for peer-reviewed journals, you do want to do at least one search with this box clicked. Now, if I don't click on this, I will still get peer-reviewed journals. Okay, I'll get everything, including peer-reviewed journals, but I'll have to search for them. So right now, just for illustration, I am going to not click on that box. And here's our search. 44,000, a big number. You see right off the bat, I can see this icon, this little picture here, and it even says periodical. This is a periodical. That means these are regular magazines. That means they have editorial control, not peer review. Here, the fourth one is an academic journal article. And periodical, academic journal, periodical, academic journal, you can see that they're all mixed together. Now, should I change my mind and decide to go with peer-reviewed materials only, even on this screen, I still have an option. Now, it took away the periodicals and left only the academic journal articles. Okay. Now, I want to look and see for a good source. Now, the first source that I kind of like was, just for our purposes, by the way, I don't speak Russian. Sorry about that one. Criminological research on the death penalty has research by criminologists impacted capital punishment practices. Let me click on that. I like it. It sounds kind of nice. Give me a lot of information here. This right here is an abstract. An abstract is a summary of the article. So even before I pull up the text of the article itself, I can read this abstract and make a decision as to whether I like this article. If I do, I can continue on. Now, this particular article comes in two forms, HTML or PDF full text. What's the difference? Well, HTML is basically the computer version of this article. See, it clicks up and there we have it. We don't see what it originally looked like. We see what the computer did, okay, in terms of presenting it to us, which is all fine and dandy, and for the most part is perfectly acceptable. What happens if I go to PDF? If I go to PDF, I get to see what that article looked like in its original form. I actually prefer that students use PDF if available. One thing it has, the HTML does not, is original page numbers. You can actually cite quotes and paraphrases to original page numbers because you have them available here. Okay, it's the same article. Now, this article also has all the information you need to create a citation right here on the first page. Right? It has a DOI. You can see that right here. DOI stands for Digital Object Indicator, and it's basically a permanent URL. Let's go over to this site over here. Here we go. There's the Cite button. If I click on this citation button, look what happens. Happy day. It gives you citation formats already done for you. Now, please do not just grab onto the first one. The first one is Brazilian National Standards. Oddly enough, we don't use Brazilian National Standards here at Mesa College. I have to scroll till I get to MLA. Boom. Copy, paste, directly into my Works Cited page. I am golden. Now, I will point a couple things out. This is a good entry, but it does say up here, pay special attention to personal names, capitalization, and dates. Sometimes the computer does make mistakes, especially when there's multiple authors. They make mistakes. Sometimes there's other forms of mistakes, okay? Just be aware of that, okay? But that will save you usually a lot of grief. And it's nice to start seeing things done properly so that when you have to work on your own entirely, you at least have a model that you can see, oh, there's the author, There's the title in quotation marks. There's the name of the periodical in italics. There's a volume number and date. There's the page range for the original publication. There's the name of the database, which is italicized. And there's a DOI. Just another word about URLs. If this had not had a DOI, if it was instead just a URL, I would ask that you not include it because it doesn't help, right? There's nothing I can do with URL, right? And it just makes your works cited page look really ugly. And I also do not need a works cited entry for those kinds of things either, okay? Because they don't change over time, unlike the wild, wild web, right? So if I like this particular article, and let's say that I do, one of the other things that I want to look at, right, is how was it listed? Subject term. So I found it by using the subject term capital punishment. Look at other subject terms: criminological research, criminologist, criminal law, criminal justice system. I may not necessarily want to click on all these. So for example, criminal justice system is likely a very big topic, right? Sometimes I may come across some subject terms that are going to be more helpful, and I want to use them as well. EBSCOhost does not use the Library of Congress subject headings. Okay, they invent their own, although obviously they may be influenced at times by the Library of Congress. Now I'm going back to the original page here for the article databases. I also want to show JSTOR. J of JSTOR stands for journals. That is to say, everything here basically is from an academic or scholarly work. Okay, so if I put capital punishment in here, I may want to narrow this search from author. Well, it certainly will not. Item title, that might be a little too much. So let's say abstract. And what kind of items do I want to see? I might want to see all of them. I might want to only see a few. Let's say for a second I want to just look at research reports and search what happens with that. Nothing. Or bad idea. Go back, try again. Let's go for articles. $96. Surprised it's not. Oh, see, it says only 10% of articles have abstracts. So maybe what I need to do to get a wider search is something else. Just do a general search. But here we go. Black Women Matter, Neo-Capital Punishment Ideology in the Wake of State Violence. Journal of Negro Education, Volume 85, Number 3. This is from 2016, so it's pretty recent. You see some other ones like this, Judicial Selection and Death Penalty Decisions. That's from 2014. Again, if I open up, I can either download a PDF. I can look at it in a different way. I can see the citation, look where it goes citations. Again, copy, paste. Again, though, in this case, for example, the name is not correct because it's in all caps, and we do not use all caps. This is what I'm saying is a good example why you can't just copy paste blindly. I'll copy and paste this, sure. Then I'll go back and fix the capitalization of the author's name, something like that. Okay, and again, make sure you're choosing the right one. In this case, it's MLA, APA, or Chicago, not nearly the range of citation options, but that's probably good because you're less likely to make a mistake. MLA being the first one, you're even less likely to make a mistake. So those are important things to know. Similar access to Access World News, right? All these other databases will also give you a similar kind of interaction. One word of advice: please do not only use one database. This is the big sin a lot of my students commit. They only use EBSCOhost or they only use JSTOR. Keep in mind that our librarians have a budget that they're working with. That budget is pretty tight. So they would not subscribe to all these different databases if they simply duplicated information. They can't afford that.